there we go. Yeah, so we're going to start the Q&As now. And first up is Mr. Mike Quinn, who is 9-0 in Return of the Jedi and in the sequel trilogy. Please give a big round of applause. Take a seat on our Emperor's throne.
Excellent. Excellent.
Check, check, check. Oh, it works. Fantastic. My goodness me. Hey, good to see you all. Woo! Oh, it's like, it feels good. It feels good. I want to know what these buttons do here.
Oh yeah, there's an ejector seat.
There is one, isn't there? Yes.
Yeah.
It might come in handy. They may all wish they had an ejector seat button. Right? How are you all? Look at that. Oh my goodness, fantastic. Great.
Very nice. How many of these have you done now? You've got a few. Three. Oh, nice.
No, I don't know. I have no idea.
Random number.
Yeah.
So, so Mike, you play 9 in Return of the Jedi.
And you said it correctly as well. You got his name right.
Thank you, I'll try my best. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, 9 is the Celestin pilot who co-pilots the Millennium Falcon with Lando Calrissian, and you destroy the Death Star.
Well, somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
It's a tough job.
So, before you got into all the acting, you kind of did more puppetry work, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, puppeteer first, and I still am a puppeteer.
Yeah.
So, yes, I started with Jim Henson and the Muppets. He hired me originally. So.
That's awesome. How does being in a costume acting, how is that different to operating puppets? Have you got more pressure when you're actually doing the acting, or do you feel more sort of involved with the puppetry?
They're kind of different ends of the same stick in a way to me.
Yeah, it's a performance. Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and I approach, like when I'm in the costume of 9 now, I approach it with the same, I guess, ideas as when he was a puppet originally. You know?
Yeah.
So I try to, it's very much on going from pose to pose and you know, being very clear about his intention and the character. So you can see what he's thinking, hopefully, you know, just very clean. Rhino is almost the opposite of what you would consider to be a typical Star Wars creature, where they tend to be just more animally or more creaturey or more alien or weird and stuff. Whereas I think Rhino is more like an animated cartoon. He's like, you know, oh, I'm happy now, or I'm thinking about something. Oh, I don't know how I feel about it. It's all very much that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's very emotive.
Very clear. Yeah. So he's like the opposite, really. Yeah, he's an anomaly.
Yeah.
Anomaly.
Much over?
There, you'll not get that out of your head now.
Yeah, just like to ask Mike, someone who's been in costume all day and swearing "way me down,"
Yeah.
I can imagine on set wearing a mask and even puppetry parts. That's definitely a challenge you've got to live with.
It is definitely, yeah. You've got to be careful, as you know, and you have to pace yourself, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, not hurt yourself. I did fall over a few times and banked myself up a little bit in 9 but, you know, it's worth it. You know,
It's a learning curve, isn't it?
It very much is.
Definitely.
The important thing is to try and have vision, but it's not always possible.
Yeah.
So you rely on, usually when you're in a costume, you have another external puppeteer that's in an earpiece, and they can sort of be your eyes for you in a way, you know. So we have a lot of hand signals, like, you know, I need some air, or I'm good, or I need to talk to you about, I have a question about something about the take we've just done, for example. So you have a kind of a language that you have visually, yeah, you're kind of vulnerable when you're in a mask and in a suit. You know, you have to be really careful.
So in doing that, like your original experience, did you, when coming back to do the same character again, were you like, right, it was muscle memory kicking in, remembering like how to do things?
Pretty much, a lot of it is that. Technique is muscle memory, just like walking or driving a car. You know, you don't really think about it, and you just kind of do it. You know, so you want to get to that place when you're working a puppet character or a costume character, so that you're not thinking about the technicalities, but you're thinking about the performance. And it's very much, to me, like playing a musical instrument. You don't want to think about, where do I put my fingers on this violin or whatever. You just want to think, I want to make this music, and it just happens. So that's where you want to get to as an actor, a dancer, a musician. It's sort of puppeteer. It's all the same, really. So when you do that, you're golden.
That's it.
Good questions. Terrible answer.
What was it like stepping back on outside of the costume side, what on the set, like getting back into that sort of rehearsal world?
Yeah, it was great. It was great, and it was really. It hadn't really changed that much because, of course, by the time The Force Awakens happened, they were going back more into practical things again. So the sets were pretty much as real as they could be. You know, there wasn't really much green screen or blue screen, just a few little bits, but not much. So you had 360-degree sets, and you had real ships. You had, you know, hundreds of people in costume, and it was just like, oh my goodness, you know, it was like the original trilogy, but bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
exciting. So it was funny though because we had some scenes where we were working with a lot of the background actors, and they'd put me in amongst them sometimes or next to them, and you know, I'd see some of them looking at me and they're like, "Oh, I remember that guy. Is that the same guy from Return of the Jedi?" I'm like, "Yeah." And oh, he was so cool. And then I'd say, well, that was me. And they're really shocked because they thought I guess I was dead or something. I don't know. It's like, how can that be? You're still alive. This is really you. So it's kind of fun. And the same with some of the actors too. You know, they were into 9 quite a bit. Dominic, who's the Dominic guy in the last film? Dominic Monaghan. Have I got the name right? Yeah. So he was in Lost anyway. He was a big 9 fan.
Nice.
And John Boyega. He had the action figure, and he played 9 in Battlefront, and he was right in Daisy Ridley. Like, I got the high scores of 9 in Battlefront, and she was like, okay, great. You know, John was great. Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So did you get to spend a lot of time with kind of like the sort of main sort of cast when you did the sequel trilogy?
Yeah, actually, surprisingly quite a bit, both on location and in the studios. You know, we had a lot of reshoots and different things. And it was, they were really lovely, actually.
That's
Really
nice.
nice.
To hear.
Yeah, it's good. I like that.
Yeah. So obviously this year, 2023, is the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. So did you ever think after you shot that? Obviously Star Wars, like the third Star Wars film, is quite big. Did you ever think that 40 years on, you'd still be here talking about that film?
Not at all. No concept whatsoever. You know, that was, of course, the third and final film, although I always thought someday they're going to make 3 more, because originally that's what they said. There were going to be 9 films, and I thought one day it will happen. But, you know, sometime off in the future, none of us can really even visualize 5 years ahead. It's really hard, isn't it, when you think, okay, where am I going to be in 5 years' time? What do I want to do? What will I be like? And it's just, you can't conceptualize that. So, I mean, even now, so, you know, 40 years ahead, no way, you know. Yeah. So it's incredible, though, isn't it, really? I love it.
Yeah, so, and did you ever think that, like, do you think it had ever reached this sort of height that Star Wars got to? So you were a part of it, like I said, it was the third film, so it obviously was generating some sort of interest. Did you think that it ever reached this sort of scale where it's kind of a timeless thing now?
No, that's the thing.
So into
I don't think anybody could visualize that it's bigger now than it was then, really. And you know, it's just so international, and now it's multi-generational, because now we have 3 generations pretty well, you know, that have known the films. And that's a wonderful thing, you know, when a parent can share that with their child or their grandson even, or grandkid. It's amazing, though. I love that, you know. It does kind of, it's a great equalizer for us all, I think. And it's one of the few things out there that we can all share. And I love that.
Yeah, it's like a happy family. So.
Yeah, very much so. You know, anywhere in the world when someone's wearing a Star Wars t-shirt, it's great.
Awesome, yeah. So, unfortunately, we did lose 9 number.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. So, when Palpatine shot his lightning up into the
we
sky.
didn't see him die, though.
No, true. Yeah, we know if you don't see someone die in Star Wars, they could return.
It didn't explode, did it?
That's true.
So there we go.
Well, would you?
So that little seed there.
Yeah. Would you consider returning to Star Wars to do any other sort of puppetry or similar kind of roles, maybe like mask role or like some sort of puppet work? Would you go back?
I have been.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Well, I had a speaking part in Andor.
Yes.
Yes. And you know, there potentially could be some more stuff in the next year, possibly.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. You saw that?
I had something in my eye. It's great.
Awesome, yeah.
So, like with Star Wars, you get so many ongoing projects now, and it's seems like it's going to be endless.
Yeah.
In the essence of that, it's like it's such a generational thing where there's going to be new fans constantly. My dad showed me Empire Strikes Back.
There you go,
I watched
yeah.
it 100 times because the walking thing was I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
What part of your Star Wars experience is one thing you've taken from, whether it's a piece of set, a prop, a costume, or just an interaction that has been really core to like your experience of Star Wars?
There are so many. It's a difficult one because one thing, you know, we have the friendships that we've made throughout the movies, and like when we come back and do shows like this, sometimes this is the only time we ever see each other, you know. So there's that. That's one element. Another is I think because I've worked on so many different shows and films, and some things are very small and have disappeared forever and don't exist anymore. Star Wars in particular, you know, when the camera's on you and you're doing like it's end of the day, they've got 3 minutes left to get the shot, and it's a close-up, and you know JJ is there, and everyone, all the eyes are on you, and you think whatever I'm going to do in the next 2 minutes or minute is going to be in the film forever, and it's going to be seen by millions of people, hundreds of years after I'm dead, probably on other planets, you know, one day, and that's the pressure right there. It's like whatever I do now is going to be Star Wars. Like it's a bit, it messes with your mind a little bit. Just the pressure of that. It's like so it really focuses the mind though. I suppose maybe it's like when people go into battle or something, you know, you just become laser focused, and it is a bit like that, I think, which is great. So it is just so big. It's bigger than any of us, you know. It's quite the responsibility of that. And also, I don't ever take any of that for granted at all. You know, very much so. So I'm very, very privileged. There's so much I take away from it, though. Also the people, you know, and then how it brings us all together. And, you know, I love that.
Yeah. It's so much about legacy, isn't it? Like what Star Wars is left behind, whichever way you interpret certain parts, this and that. And then also the kind of beauty of it, like behind the scenes, like the kind of loyalty that has to like past actors and current ones, like it is more of a family rather than just
you have friends for life at that point,
definitely.
You know, and you know a lot of relationships have been formed at shows like events like this, and of course people get married at events like this too, don't they? And you know, it's
any proposals? No.
Don't all run at once. It's great though, isn't it? It's really wonderful.
That's it.
It's been great today. Today's a great show.
That's it. I've met many friends through Star Wars and other things. Friends in different parts of the world as well.
Exactly.
And then it's because it's something so pure and like we all know we like Star Wars. It blossoms from there. It's such a specific thing. And same with like lifelong friends.
They can be very creative too because people make their own stuff now, and you know you get a lot of fan fiction, and I mean it's great. It opens up this whole other possibility that we otherwise might not have had.
Exactly. That's it. It covers a large variety of bases, doesn't it? Definitely. I mean, some of the art pieces around here that costumes. And it's all just for these two words, Star Wars.
It's important though because you know we forget sometimes to switch off and to play and relax and have fun, you know, and this gives us like license to do that. You know, real life is hard out there. Let's be honest. You know, and we sometimes need to just run away for 5 minutes or whatever and just play. You know, enjoy the few bits of life that we can sometimes because it is hard, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
So I think that's why we love this. I think.
Yeah. For myself, I want to do costume design, so cosplay is kind of a side step road.
No, it's all very much connected.
I think
a lot of overlap.
I think it's quite a good way to get into it. Your profession, how did you start getting into it, and what would you recommend us to start?
It's different for everybody. Mine was very specific. I worked puppets as a kid anyway, and so I just when I was still at school, I was a big fan of Muppet shows. So I basically stalked Jim Henson until he gave me a job. So that's not normal.
It worked.
But it did work. It did work. So I don't know. Well, what would I tell people? Be persistent. You know, don't give up. If it's something you're really passionate about, you know, the ones who don't make it are the ones who quit. So you just gotta be focused and have a real passion and follow your heart and be around a lot of people that are doing what you want to do or get as close to them as possible, be it online or in person, so that you're with like-minded people. And there's a saying that says, you become the average of the 5 main people you hang out with. So hang out with the people that are doing what you want to do, if you can. So that's all I can say, really.
Well, that's it. It's definitely passion, isn't it? Yeah, great.
Yeah,
passion.
absolutely.
Evidently, you've pursued a passion, and it's
Yes, magic happens when you do that.
Exactly,
When you follow
yeah.
your heart and you desire it so much, it can help things become a reality.
So yeah, it's a pure pursuit of passion, and then evidently it's worked out for you, and it's worked out for so many others. And I think
I love it.
that's what a lot of people need to hear nowadays. It's
Yeah.
like whatever it is, like pursue it and put.
Yeah, we have, it's easy to become jaded in this world, and people telling you can't do this, you can't do that, and it's not sensible, it's not practical. But I think we all have so much within us that we don't know about. We have a lot of power that we don't realize, sometimes anyway. And I think each of us is all capable of doing, including myself, a lot more than what I realize and what I have done. We just don't know that. So it's trying to find that part inside of us that we should let out and celebrate.
That's awesome. So we've done a lot of talking. Does anybody in the audience have a question? Oh, look at that, right. I wonder over here. Right, what's your name, buddy?
Speciality.
Right, that's a question.
What was it like when you tell a beginner?
Oh my goodness, so exciting. See, I was a big fan of Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back. So it's like everybody at that time, what's going to happen in the final episode of the trilogy, as you can imagine. So walking on set and seeing all this stuff unfold in front of my eyes, like, oh my goodness, there's Han Solo coming out of carbonite. It's crazy, right? Oh, there's Chewie and there's 3PO, and then there's all these new characters, like Big Fortuna and all this. Like, what's going on here? It was very epic, very exciting as a Star Wars fan. So on the one hand, I was the fan, kid, sort of like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. This is Star Wars. This is amazing. On the other hand, I had to sort of be professional and not give away that I was like, geeking out inside and just work, So it was epic. It was great.
So you were a fan of Star Wars then before?
I was, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So was Return of the Jedi the first film that you kind of thought, all right, I'm going to apply to be in this film, I'd like to work on this film? Or did you kind of inquire before and they're saving you? Or did you just think?
Jedi was my third film, so I started out with Muppets on the Great Muppet Caper. So that was sort of my path that I was going down. And then Dark Crystal happened pretty much the same time right afterwards with the same crew. So we sort of overlapped from Muppets to Dark Crystal, but that was the first animatronic film ever, so we had to kind of invent that stuff. But then that meant that we were ripe for the plucking for Jedi, which was the next film that came into the studio. And Jim Henson and George Lucas were buddies, of course. So they basically just cherry-picked a bunch of us for Jedi. So I never even auditioned,
Oh,
it was
nice.
just like, oh, we need you guys, come on. And even when I started, I didn't know exactly what I was going to be doing.
Oh, so it's quite fatey.
So yeah, I had like a 15-minute interview chat with Robert Watts, the producer, in his office. We just talked about whatever, and that was it really. He said, "Oh, we need some puppeteers. Are you good?" Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
It was great.
almost the right place, right time. Sort of.
Very much so.
Yeah.
But no one else in the world would know how to work animatronic puppets
Very
because they hadn't existed until that point. So it's kind of an interesting time,
Bit of innovation.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So does anybody else have a question? Oh, here we go. Right, what's your name, fella?
Eddie.
Eddie. That's a good question.
Who's the favourite cast member you met and why?
Oh, very good question. Oh, see, now that's the thing. I could say it was Paul Blake or Ari Decker or no. Let's see. Favorite cast member and why? Well, let's see. Oscar Isaac gives very good hugs. So there is that. It's so hard to. I don't know. My goodness. And of course, as I said earlier, John Boyega, because he was a big fan. I mean, hey, he tried to give me some of his dialogue in the last film as well. He wanted me to have some of his speeches and stuff, and JJ was like, "Oh, I don't know about that." So I don't know. It's such a hard one, though. I'm sure after I go home, I'll be like, "Oh, I know," and then I'll,
Always the way.
Yeah, always the way. So much stuff, but they're all wonderful. They really are. So, yeah.
Do we have any more questions for Mike? Oh, one of the back. Do you want to come forward a little bit, sir?
There's one over there. There's one, next one.
Oh, got one down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come forward.
Next one. Okay, cool.
Okay.
All
So what's
right.
your name?
Christian,
Christian, lovely.
if you were to bring back one dead character from Star Wars, who would you bring back?
Yoda.
Maybe Yoda.
Yoda.
That's an easy
I love
one.
Yoda because he
It's
was
a puppet.
he was a puppet. Was he a puppet? No, he wasn't. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I like Yoda. I mean, from Empire Strikes Back, I was still at school at that point. And I was so fascinated, like, how is he going to work? Because I saw photographs, I didn't know how he was going to be. So I was obsessed with Yoda, and I saw Empire Strikes Back again and again, mostly just for the Yoda stuff. So I've always liked. I got to assist playing cards on Yoda in Return of the Jedi as well, so that was nice. I'd love to do that again. So, but that's a good question. Then we had one more over there.
Yeah, one more down here. Yeah, awesome.
Patiently waiting in the corner.
Did I come to here?
Oh no! Shout.
Yeah, what's your name?
What's your question?
If you could make up any character for Star Wars, who would it be?
Oh, okay. Yes, if I could make up any character from Star Wars, who would it be? I think it would be one that would be kind of like me. So I could be a face character. I'd like to, put in some makeup and a cool costume, and have it be some really weird, stupid guy like me. That's not Jar Jar, but some I don't know, some weird. Yeah. I don't know. I think that would be really cool. And then I could have my own action figure of myself as well. But that's just being a bit narcissistic, really, isn't it? But why, since you asked, I mean, why not have a character of yourself, really, or a caricatured version of myself? That would be fantastic. That would be amazing.
Awesome stuff. Yeah. So, anybody else have a question for Mike? No. Oh, we've got one more question down
Why
here.
not? Why not?
Right there.
They're all good questions.
What's it like to be on Roger Rabbit?
Oh, Roger Rabbit. Yes, you framed Roger Rabbit. That was really fun because Bob Zemeckis, the director, he'd done Back to the Future, but he hadn't done 2 and 3 yet, and he was going to go on to those afterwards. So being around like Christopher Lloyd and Bob Hoskins was great. We had a task of bringing anything that a toon had to move. We had to puppeteer it. So when Roger was jumping up and down on the bed, I'd be underneath pulling where his footsteps were, or we'd be doing weasels with guns on rods and stuff, poking into the faces, and all different puppet rigs. The octopus bartender, I think I was doing the cocktail shaker. Everything had to be practical. And then there were times where they'd draw weasels over my hand, so I was doing actual puppetry as well. But working with people like Bob Zemeckis, he was just amazing. He was such a good director because he was so great with the crew, with the actors, with all the technical stuff that was new at that time. Just to technically record every shot was shot twice basically, on robotic cameras. Once with just a background plate, and once with the actors in it, so they could then render things in post-production. It was before computer graphics, so they had their processing device that ILM used for layering actual film. Now you do it on computer in layers, but back then it was all these lenses and pieces of film that they would shoot again on this optical printer. So we worked with the animators as well quite a lot on set. So that we could facilitate what they needed animation-wise. So we got to work with ILM, we got to work with the animation, and of course Spielberg and Amblin, as well as Warner Brothers. So it was amazing. It was a one-off movie, but it was so special. Yeah, all shot in the UK, except for the initial the LA exteriors were shot in Los Angeles, but everything else, the Acme factory and everything, was all done in the UK. So it's great.
Any other questions at all? Oh,
20 questions.
There we go. I'll start with this gentleman at the front there.
Hello. Got to be asked, who's your favourite Muppet?
Favorite Muppet? For a while, I think it was Gonzo because he was the weirdo, and I kind of felt like, okay, he didn't fit in. No one quite knew what he was about. He was a bit of a head scratcher, and I felt like that was me for a while. But as I've got older, I think I've identified more with Kermit because he's the one that's trying to sort of make sense of everything and facilitate everybody to do what they need to do. And he's a great organizer, and he was the visionary of bringing the right people together and putting on the show and that kind of thing. So in a way, I think I maybe identify more with that as I'm older. But then ask me in another 10 years, and it'll be the 2 old guys in the box. Yeah,
Good choice, very good choice. I think we have one last question. The gentleman in the green
yes.
there. You might have to come a little bit forward, mate. There we go. What's your name, mate?
It's Alex.
Alex.
Who was your favourite director that you've worked with?
Favorite director? It might be. I did love Robert Zemeckis a lot. He was amazing, very patient with me, which I really appreciate. But I think it would have to be Jim Henson, actually, because he was the one director who truly understood puppets and what we needed underneath to make that work, and how long we needed. He would always give us playbacks on monitors so we could see. He'd say, "Oh, shall we look at that back for educational purposes?" And we'd do it. "Oh, let's do it." You knew it wasn't quite there. You knew like we were so close to say, "Oh, let's do a penultimate take," and we'd do another take. And let's do another penultimate take. And he just understood what we needed to do to make these puppets come alive and to tell these stories. And he knew how to shoot that stuff very well. He knew how to shoot creatures and puppets and animatronics too. I think nobody understood that greater than he did, and it made our lives so much easier to do our job. And he made us look good, Plus, when he got a puppet on, he became this kid. He was the happiest guy ever. And him and Frank Oz sometimes, when they were doing like Kermit and Fozzie together, they'd crack each other up and there'd be tears rolling down their cheeks with laughter. It was the best thing ever, They just became kids again, And I do miss that. So I suppose I'd say Jim Henson. Yeah. Good questions. Excellent. Every single question has been excellent today.
Yeah.
I love that.
Great audience questions. I think you've satisfied Friendly with your answer. I think that's what he was betting on. So
Yeah, it's
definitely.
good. Definitely. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Awesome.
That's right. Thank you for your time, Mike.
Thank you so much. Can I keep the chair?
Oh.
You have to see our boss about that.
Yeah.
It can sit on the roof of my car, won't it? I'm sure it
Let's see the boss man for that one.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
He won't mind. He won't mind. He won't miss it.
Well, thank you for
Yeah.
sitting down and listening to what Mike
Thank you
has
so
to say
much.
as
I
well.
appreciate it. Thanks for sitting down. Well done. May the force be with you, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome, yeah.